Hey everybody, Steven here, coming to you with some very exciting Subnautica 3 news, in that it has been essentially kind of leaked from Krafton, the parent company of Unknownworlds, that the game is expected to come out in 2025. Now, I do want to point out that Unknownworlds hasn't announced this. This actually leaked via the Krafton financial reports, and in this article from PC Gamer, this one says that Rock Paper Shotgun was combing through those and actually found this. I'm sure other people found it as well, but essentially now we have all this buzz around this information, but Unknownworlds didn't officially announce this. I'll have a link for this article in the description if you want to look at that, as well as my video covering Krafton becoming the parent company for Unknownworlds. And with them being the parent company, that comes with some things like this happening, where they have to release these financial reports, and certain information that potentially the devs don't want leaked just kind of gets leaked with this. So again, Unknownworlds didn't announce this. It was just through their financial report. And for anybody that doesn't know, looking at Krafton, PUBG is one of their other games, and we also had the Callisto Protocol. Just looking at this information right here, where you can see, hey, the next Subnautica game, it says target launch is 1H25, and to the far right, total games to be launched. 2021 and 2022, you had 4 and 4. 2023, they've only had 5. 24 to 26 in that 2-year span, they're expecting 32 plus. That is a lot. That's pretty crazy. They have a lot of different games listed there, but again, the next Subnautica is slated for 2025. Now, we know it's been in development, but this gives us a more concrete date. We know it's been in development because there have been posts on Twitter and through their website where they said we are looking for, I believe, the senior narrative design on the game, as well as other job listings for the game. So right now, obviously, we're still in the very early stages. The next question with this, though, is, are we going to see an early access? Now, based off history, we had early access with the first game and the second game. I definitely think we are going to see early access for this game. Now, I can't guarantee that, but just looking historically, that seems like we have a very high chance of that being the case. Some things to talk about with that, though, is usually for these games, we're looking at 1 to 2 years in early access. And because of that, if we're looking at 2025, that's 2 years away. So launch window, let's say even end of 2025 or mid 2025. I would expect early access sometime 2024, and that could be early in 2024, depending on if they want to push it super early in the game development process, or maybe mid 2024. I think early we're going to look at February, March. Mid could be June, July-ish. I don't know if they would push it way late into 2024 if they were going to do it, just because at that point you are looking so close to 2025. I'm also trying to keep this as just like a loose launch. 2025 would be great, but if the game needs more time, we could see it push to 2026. And that's okay if it means a better game, right? And the other thing to think about here is they are dealing in Unreal Engine 5. They switched over from the engine that they used for the previous 2 games. So I made a video on this and I said, I bet that speeds up the development process because there are so many tools that they have in Unreal Engine 5. I do think it will speed up that process and make it easier for them to develop the game. I'm also extremely excited to just see visually what this next game is going to look like, because this has a very particular look to it with both games. I think they're going to keep that style, but we're also going to see it obviously just be a lot better. We're looking at that next gen game engine and what it brings to the table. With that also, what are we going to see in terms of story, especially based off how the last game, Below Zero, ended, and also feedback from the community, because that is one of the things Unknownworlds is very good at doing. They listen to the community. They also take risks, they take chances. We talk about the first game is this open world and everybody loves that, and then they go with open world, but there's also it's story and narrative driven, where the first one there wasn't, your character never talked. The second game we had that, and so they took a risk and a chance with that. In a lot of ways I do think it paid off, but I also think a lot of people want to go back to that massive open world that they had with the first game. I would love to see personally like a marriage of those two. Give us that vast open world again, but still have some of those story narrative driven moments that we found with Below Zero. Also keep in mind that game actually started out as an expansion to Subnautica, and then it grew into this full-fledged game, and it changed a lot over the course of that. So with this, I think they're going to listen to the community. I also think they obviously are going to take chances with this, but I would love personally to just see this marriage of those two things. And it's quite capable now with this engine. I mean, it could be a very big, vast world that they can create. In terms of the story, do we stay on 4546B? I still think there's a lot of story that can be found on that planet. Or do we follow Robin to the architect's homeworld, which we see at the end of Subnautica Below Zero? That's one of those things. It can go either direction. I would love, personally, I would love to go to the architect's homeworld. I would also love to stay on 4546B and go to some different areas. I go back and forth on that because I do love the world that they have created on that planet so much, but I was so intrigued by the ending of Below Zero. I would love to see what has transpired back on Alan's homeworld. So that's also where I want to hear from you guys. Where do you think this story should go in the third game? I also know the request for multiplayer has been thrown out there by the community a ton, and that has always presented issues that the devs have talked about just in terms of the tech, right? And also it has to serve the story. And so do we get a game where that highly requested feature is finally there? Does it make sense for the story and gameplay if they do it? So a lot of stuff to speculate on. I'm excited to just see this news. I've been doing a bunch of tech reviews on the channel. When the game gets in early access, if it does, for this third game, I will be covering it the same way I covered Below Zero, which is every week. Every time the devs update some stuff, about 2 times a week, I do videos just covering everything that has been added to the game. Because to me, it's like a log of like, look at the process of all of this over time. And it's so cool to go back and watch some of those videos and you see a lot that changes. That's the fun part for me, just exploring that whole process and all the effort and work that they put into the game. And so I will be doing that, like I said, the same way I did Below Zero. So what do you guys think of the news? Do you think it is going to early access? What are you hoping you're going to see with this next game, with the story and features? Let me know in the comment section. Like I said, I want to hear from everybody on that. And that's going to wrap this video up. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the video, hit the like button for me as it helps the channel out. If you want to continue to follow along with all of my content, especially this Subnautica content, hit the subscribe button for me. And as more news breaks, and I expect we are going to hear more and more over the next handful of months, and I will try to cover that as fast as I can. So again, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one.